You need to be handy, 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 handy. I cannot overemphasize on it. Like, a man needs to be handy, handy, handy to enter the kitchen and cook if the woman leaves the house for work. Yeah, and a woman needs to be handy, handy, handy to do what your man would normally do for you back home. You should be able to change your flat tire and things like that. Okay, enough of that, guys. If you are new here, please subscribe and leave your beautiful comment. Thumbs up helps this my video go too far and for YouTube to recommend it to others looking for content like this. So now that I've let all this information out, use the comment section to write me on the next thing you would want me to share here in New Zealand. So I have to check my mates and now start cooking my food, and when I'm done, it's me again, your one and only out and about lady in New Zealand, Julia Chinelo. You are very much welcome to my YouTube channel. So as this year 2023 wraps up, I have about 3 to 4 families in my email asking me about family, individual life here in New Zealand, so that they will make that right decision if New Zealand is the best country from the options they've got. And in today's video, I am going to be discussing the things you need to take care of if you intend migrating here in New Zealand, either as a family or as a single person. So I will just hop into my kitchen while I make smoky jollof rice for my family for dinner. We will go through the things you need to take care of so that you do not feel overwhelmed. That's all I can say for now. Okay guys, now that we are in my kitchen, I would show you the protein I'm using for my smoky Nigerian jollof rice. So I'm using drumstick. I've already prepped it with my choice spices in there. You can see I took the skin of the chicken off. That's how I like it. It just helps reduce a bit of the cholesterol. Okay, I turned my stove on. So let's start the gist. The number one thing you need to take care of as a family person before you start nurturing that idea of moving to New Zealand is chores. Yeah, if you are someone from African descent, you can relate that in families, women just run the home, like they're on top of the chores. Most times, depending on the kind of man you have as partner or spouse, they don't just know how you run the home. Sometimes you get your cousins or your nieces around while you help them with their school or something financially. They help you around the house. For very wealthy or well-to-do people, they can afford nannies, gardener, driver, and house help, and the woman just run the home. Everything will be in order. The man of the house will have like the choice meal he wants to have daily, depending on his financial capability and the finance he makes available. So the woman just run the home once the finance and the resources are there. So the men then, whenever they are home, is just the emperor, the conqueror, the champion is here. Like, Mama Nkechi, what is this pepper doing on the floor? Mama Nkechi, is my pando with a egusi soup ready? Sis, if you have that kind of husband, I don't know how else to reshape my mouth to tell you that you would you would struggle terribly here in New Zealand, not just because he's not helping out with chores at home, but because you would just be drowned doing the chores, and to be difficult for you to go out there and work and things like that, and also depending on the number of children you've got. So, and the second point I want to talk about is finance management. I would say these 2 points, doing chores in the house and finance management, is the top most reason why marriages, especially in African immigrants moving to diaspora, why their marriages crashes. If they are not struggling on, nobody is willing to compromise to do the chores and get the house running, they are struggling on the finance management. So if you are that kind of lady that usually say, I'm a woman, it's your duty to provide for me, my money is my money, what you earn as my husband is our money, is the money we will use in running the home. My sister, you need to think. Like, you need to think twice. You need to need to really breathe in and breathe out, and get your facts, figures right before you think of relocating to New Zealand or any country in the West. Because the truth be told, I just don't know how this works. Despite how high place your spouse or yourself might be in any job that you're getting in diaspora, if the other party, if the other partner is not at least doing working during the weekend or doing part-time or things like that, I have to just blow the way. So sister, financially your family will struggle. The essential needs of life would be compromised. There's just no two ways to say it. Even for partners and couples that are doing full-time job, most times they compromise on the essential needs, like the grocery they buy, the type of house they live, and things like that. So this is something you and your husband have to work out on, how you guys would manage your finance to achieve that goal of migrating, living an okay life where you can afford the essential needs of life and also save some for retirement. This is a whole story for another day, because retirement in the West, from what we are used to back home, I would say is, if I use the word brutal, I might be going to the extreme. Like, if you are training your kids here, you have to have it at the back of your mind that at the old age they do not owe you. It's not like back home that you would take in your aged mother, aged father to care for them in their old age. Here, you are most likely to find yourself in the rest home, and that money you would still most likely pay for it for your stay in the rest home. So this is something you guys need to sit down and cross your T's and dot your I's before you finally move. So the third point I would be talking about today is work. I somehow mentioned it in my second point. So here in New Zealand, I don't know how to say this. If you've been following me, you will know what the minimum wage is and what the living wage is, which is the median wage. And you would have a glimpse on what groceries cost here, what they cost for kindy, what they cost for high school, what they cost for housing and everything is. So again, if it's just one spouse working, I really do not know. And if the other wife is just doing part-time, it would just be round and round we go. Paycheck to paycheck. So working hard, and how you guys do your work, the kind of work you do, if you'll be doing opposite hours so that someone will be home with the kids, depending on how old your children are, is something you need to really take care of, because you cannot afford nanny here. Nanny isn't a minimum wage job, or they are not underpaid. Here wages are controlled. You cannot engage anyone and pay the person below minimum wage. So the fourth point I'll be talking about is your parenting style. There are not, in most non-Western countries, you just parent your way, you parent your style. Yeah, here in New Zealand and in most Western world, yeah, you parent your style, but I don't know how to, I don't know how to explain this. It's just better experienced and not discussed. So you would culturally nurture your kids on your family norms, belief, which is acceptable in the society. But do you see, there are things the society won't take from you. You cannot physically abuse your child. You cannot emotionally abuse your child. All it takes from that child is just say a word to either teacher or anyone, and you are up for a big thing. If they did not sign you up for anger management, if they feel you shout so much at home, like a typical African, so is something that worth thinking of, and probably something that you need to test run, reduce how you I don't know. I now know that most of us are enlightened. Now we know better. We tend to adopt a little bit of modern way of parenting, the things that our parents did to us out of love, that we know that they didn't really help. Yeah, so I know most of us tend to like walk around those. Yeah, but if you are here, you do not have a choice. You cannot spank your child, you cannot verbally abuse your child. Is not allowed. Yeah, but traditionally, your way of family lifestyle, you can do all of that without abusing that child. Yeah, and also your child might decide to totally adopt the Western way of life, and all that your family believe and all of that will be gone within a twinkle of an eye. So this is something you need to really think deep into. How will I preserve my African tradition, my norms, our way of parenting, to make my kids grow in that line? Do I really care if they adopt Western way of life completely? Would it bother me? This is another thing you need to think of, so that in your old age you won't start regretting that you migrated with your young children just to give them a better life, and you end up losing them to a multicultural way of life here. So if you are that like rigid, unflexible, that you want them to do things in a certain way, is something you have to think of, because you break yourself trying to push so hard, and you would still lose that child if depending on the child's personality, involvement in peer group, and a whole lot of that would have an influence on your child. So the 6 points that I'll be talking about is your personality. Are you somebody that is quite social? Can you manage with loneliness? Can you manage with sedentary lifestyle? Yeah, because here in New Zealand and in most places in the West, what we'll do is work, go to shopping mall, go to school, go to movies, go to park, go to beaches, then we'll come back home and bond, and our families form like that, our friends and around us, and we derive our happiness from our immediate family. If you are moving here with your family, if you are like the very outgoing person that's you know how Nigeria is, we love party. Like every weekend you will have this 60th wedding anniversary, you will have this birthday party, you will have this wedding. You guys can tell on how flamboyant and how entertaining weddings are. And also, if you are generally a bubbling person that loves it bubbling, my dear, that circle of home, work, home, it will break you. It did break me on my first few years here. I was like, what is life without dressing in my colorful shabby, going to friends' birthday, wedding, and those sort of lifestyle. Yeah, you know how our community is. They are so therapeutic that we often underestimate the impact in our mental and social well-being. Yeah, so here I don't know how to, if you ever been to a birthday party in the West, you would understand what I mean. It's not like that bustling birthday party, we keep it cool, you come at the right time. Yeah, it's not like party, it's party, but it's not like the party you are used to. You need to start finding alternative ways of making yourself happy, so that you do not so that you will not be taken unaware, and before you know it, you start breaking down the emotions, you start having challenges with your mental health. So find alternative way of being happy. Find other things that will make you happy after work. Maybe staying home to watch a movie, play family games. Just be generally like free, not so rigid, to integrate and work around what is available in the community, so that you can easily settle down and adapt to the new way of life. So where are we going now? So the 7th point that I want to talk about is something that will either make or will leave you in regret. Why did I make that move to come to New Zealand? So you and your partner, if you're moving here with your family, you guys have to sit. If you're sitting in the bedroom or sitting anywhere to discuss this, it should be something that you need to discuss on how hardworking you both are going to be without compromising on raising your children, and on how disciplined you both are going to be. If you are married to a spouse that love like luxurious, lavishing lifestyle, I'll have to be brutally honest to you. I don't know what sort of job you will do here in New Zealand that would enable you afford that luxurious lifestyle in your first few years of migrating. If you have to afford that luxurious life, you working hard, two of you working full time, I have to really be honest, will not be able to afford you that level of luxurious lifestyle that you guys know what we call luxury back home. Yeah, and you guys need to be disciplined as well, especially for women who would just land here and be doing shopping, branded clothes, that one, being in debt, using credit card, debit card, and taking loans to buy luxuries. So these are the things you need to consider, so that you don't spend years on years here and you'll be like, I have not really advanced. Every year they keep increasing median or minimum wage, and I just go by that rate. I am not expanding career-wise. I am not aspiring to earn more money or change job to a higher paying job. I am not establishing business. I am just acquiring luxury. I don't even have money in my bank account. I don't even have investment. So you need to cut down on luxury and think on how you can achieve the financial freedom, if that is the essence of you moving here. Because if you do not plan, I don't know whether I would say that you might be worse off than you might be worse off than I just don't know what to say, but it's something you need to strategically look into so that you would be disciplined. Every year you are achieving, you are expounding, and in half decade or a decade to come, you would see yourself at the place you projected that, yeah, by now I am in this job, I am doing this is now what I earn, I don't need to struggle financially, or by in the next 5-10 years after my migration, I'm going to own this business and things like that. If you don't plan, this is how it goes. The living expenses, the renting, everything just moves off simultaneously, that you might be thinking you are earning more, but you just realize that your account is just rolling over from paycheck to paycheck, or is stagnant, and things like that. So now that I've enumerated 7 things that you need to take care of before you migrate here in New Zealand with your family, I would like to suggest some strategies that you can use to start test running these things to see if you would eventually migrate to New Zealand, or stay back home, or thrive. The UK, Canada, US, Australia. But I have to tell you the truth, if there's any country in the West, the system is no different from what I have said here. So the first strategy I would say, if you have nannies, house help, drivers, gardener helping you at home, or your nurses, people that you know you would not be migrating overseas with, I would say they should give your family a break for like 3 months. Test run it with your spouse on the level of chores or responsibilities he will pick, who will be dropping the kids off school, who would be cooking, who would be cleaning, who would be babysitting, and see how much stress it puts on you and your spouse. Because by the time you migrate to New Zealand, you would be running your house just with your husband and no one else. So test run that, then if it works well, give it a tick, and then go ahead. So the two strategy I would like you to deploy is setting your goals. I can never emphasize enough on the need for you to plan, and once you arrive, you kick off with your plans immediately without distractions. Yeah, if your plan is that once you land, your wife is going to do so course to secure you guys a stay, go for it straight away. And once your wife secures you guys a stay, residency, or if it's your husband that is securing the stay, go for it. And the other spouse can study afterwards, and you just keep advancing yourself. Yeah, what trade is in demand, what skills is in demand, what is my long-term goal? Am I going to be in civil service in this role? Am I going to do business? Am I going to be a skilled person, set up my own shop? So you channel your skill advancement into what your long-term goal is. So having said that, the third strategy that I would strongly advise that you deploy is for you to start learning skills. My dear, there are essential skills that is very important that you learn as much as you can. Example, barbing of hair. If you're a man, try going to salon to learn how to barb your own African hair to the style you love, and if you've got young boys, so that you can barb them without going to the barber shop here, of which we do not have too many African ones, and they will barb the hair that you'll be like, did I pay this much for the hair? And if you're a lady and you've got like female children, you try going to a salon to know how to do basic hair. Braiding hair here, keeping your African hairstyle here is extremely very difficult. Even when you have the money, the people that can do it are so rare that you have to book appointment upon appointment before you can even get in to do your hair. So it's a skill that I strongly recommend that you get yourself equipped. So the next skill that we'll talk about today is, be it a man or a woman, you see handy job, learn it. You don't need to call a carpenter every now and then to come and knock something on the wall for you. If you get a flat tire, you'll be like, back home my driver does all the deals with the flat tire, deals with the water in the engine, deals with that. Nope. You need to be handy enough to change your own tire. You need to be handy enough to do a lot of things around the house. You need to be handy. I cannot overemphasize on it. Like, a man needs to be handy to enter the kitchen and cook if the woman leaves the house for work. Yeah, and a woman needs to be handy to do what your man would normally do for you back home. You should be able to change your flat tire and things like that. Okay, enough of that, guys. If you are new here, please subscribe and leave your beautiful comment. Thumbs up helps this my video go too far, and for YouTube to recommend it to others looking for content like this. So now that I've let all this information out, use the comment section to write me on the next thing you would want me to share here in New Zealand. So I have to check my mates and now start cooking my food, and when I'm done it depends on the outcome, I would share my plate of smoky Nigerian jollof rice. Wet, yeah.